Welcome to Post Game Beers. We are the Lupton Drinking Club. We normally bring you game recaps. We're not going to do that tonight. Stories from the front row, which also not happening today. But instead of recaps, we're joined by a special guest. First, though, we are recording live from the Flying T studio here at the Roxo Media House, right here in Fort Worth. I'm your host, Kyle Malloy, at YellMK on Twitter. I'm joined first by my co-host, the Master of Activities, Jacob Sailors, at JD Sailors. Jacob, your first week in many months without a TCU baseball game. How are things, man?
Man, it was a lonely weekend, man. Having to watch other teams play, but you know what? Hey, that's baseball, right? But
still a good weekend.
About tonight.
College baseball is still fun, regardless if the Frogs are in it or not, but it still wasn't the same.
Oh, for sure. But, this is the best tournament in sports, so I've really enjoyed just posting up and watching just a crap ton of baseball this weekend. I know Ray did, too. What's up, Ray?
I can't bring you stories from the first row this week, but I can bring you stories from 12 hours on my couch on Sunday.
Ray's World. I was asleep.
I was up till, I think the Longhorn ECU game ended about 12:30 Sunday night.
It was a long day of baseball. All right, well, we can talk about that a little bit later, but
who's this?
We got our guest here. He needs no introduction to those who listen to Post Game Beers often. We appreciate y'all, but today in studio we have our starting shortstop for the Frogs, our team leader. I'm going to read this off. In batting average, OPS, in hits, in doubles, in home runs, in slugging, and your 2022 first team all Big 12 infielder, Tommy Sacco. Tommy, it's great to have you in the studio today.
I appreciate you guys having me. This is awesome. I've been really looking forward to this, honestly. throughout the year, I've really wanted to get on this thing.
Have you listened to any episodes of Post Game Beers?
I can say I've listened to honestly more than half of them.
All right, I'll take that.
I really think
I
think the
about
last
5
one
minutes.
I listened to, I listened to Perks.
Yeah.
Yep.
I listened to I can't remember which came first. It was either Tech or Perks, but whichever one was last, that was the one I listened to last.
Yeah. Tech was in April.
Yeah.
Then we had our Stillwater.
Man, I hope he's not getting the profiles confused, because somebody else was like, "How come the last episode was Oklahoma State? That was like a month ago."
Oh yeah, that's whenever we switched over.
Whenever we switched over to Roxo,
right.
yeah.
So there was that.
I'm sure he heard the rest of them from Bill's office. He's just blaring them.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask the first question?
Absolutely.
Tommy, what the hell got into you this year?
I mean, a lot of people have asked me that throughout this year, and really it was just like
Drugs.
I can't say drugs.
No, you can't say that.
But honestly, I think a lot of people just didn't think I could do a whole lot this year from last year. I've got told lots of times how coaches last year would just see me in the 9-hole as like a non-factor. They'd always say that like, TCU's lineup has eight hitters in it, and then there's just like an empty slot.
Well, we would never say that.
Well,
you started last year in the 2-hole.
I did, yeah.
So
that's where I mainly hit throughout TCU as the 2-hole.
And Ray had you as a Golden Spikes finalist.
I was really high on you last year.
A lot
before we had the LDC
he
together.
Came into this year saying, "There's one person I'm not supporting this year."
Yeah, a lot of people were high on me last year, so but it's all right.
So was it different coming in with high expectations versus this year when people didn't expect that much out of you, or I don't know, maybe they were disappointed, in the last season?
Yeah, I mean, going into high expectations, they are what they are. You can go into the highest expectations you could possibly have for somebody, and it won't affect their year at all. It comes down to what they do. But I think just this year, the biggest thing was like, what do I got to lose?
Right.
Like it was one of those deals where it's your last year, like I'm sure not going to let what happened last year happen this year because it's my last year. So I think it was just kind of came down to like, you really have nothing to lose.
It's kind of like Bobby Boucher and the Water Boy, just leaving it all out in the field.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you already embarrassed yourself last year.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Nah.
I'd say that.
Was that your assessment of the year?
But,
I mean, you were good in the field last year.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been the part of my game where, I've never really had to worry about. Mm-hmm. Even though I did have 10 errors last year, which I liked this year. I think I had 5 or 6. So, that was too high for me. there's a couple errors where, looking back, where there's like dumb errors that I cut back on this year. But yeah, defense has always been that solid spot.
Did you play shortstop? Like, at what age did you start playing shortstop? Was it basically your whole life? Or
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when you're younger, you play all the positions. Mainly when my dad was a coach, it was short and second.
Yeah.
And then going into high school, freshman year was second base. Sophomore year it was shortstop, and then junior, senior it'd rotate between the two.
I'm surprised, being at the level you are now, or I guess do we say were now?
Yeah, we're now. When you were introducing me, you said starting shortstop, and I was gonna correct you and say former starting shortstop.
Was.
Yeah, was former.
Well, I'm surprised that as a young kid you wouldn't play any third because you were probably the kid with the strong arm.
Yeah, I mean, actually, growing up, I didn't have the strongest arm. Usually, when you're younger, third base are the guys that pitch also, because they do have the strongest arm. And my dad never let me pitch, only when I throw knuckleballs.
Did you ever want to?
Only when throwing knuckleballs.
Yeah.
Like he told me, there's 2 instances where I pitched. One of them was sophomore year over the summer, and my dad was like, "You throw anything but a knuckleball, I'm gonna walk out to the field and pull you myself." And he wasn't a coach; he was in the stands.
Did you guys ever play against a knuckleballer? We had a kid in elementary school. He was on another little league team. He threw a knuckleball. I think we run-rolled him every time we played.
The only knuckleballer I faced was in the fall, and it was Chase Pelter. That was the only guy I've ever faced. And his knuckleball was
for those who are listening and don't know who that is, explain to them.
He's TCU commit that's
Well, of course,
now.
I know who that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know who that
No,
is.
he was a freshman pitcher that came in the fall. He was here in the fall.
Okay.
And now he's in the
knuckleball?
he's in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think he's going somewhere else.
I mean, position players pitching is a kind of an up and coming thing with MLB.
Yeah,
so
it pays off
Yeah,
for Hunter Toplansky being the Friday night starter.
Yeah, how hard did you fight to get in over Hunter?
Oh no, you
Earlier
gotta talk to Gray. Gray was disappointed when but when Hunter was going to get warm, Gray was like, looked at Los, was like, I thought I was first out. Yeah, he was like, because whenever we play catch, Gray I like to catch his flat ground. And, Gray likes to say he's got 16 different pitches. Yeah, so, and it holds true. So, yeah, he was a little bummed that Hunter was first out for position players instead of him.
So let's go back to defense for a second. So according to GoFrogs.com, the baseball stats, let's talk about the middle infield. So Gray had a 991 fielding percentage. You had a 975. I want to point out a couple guys who had a perfect fielding percentage this year. Luke Boyers.
Yep.
Bobby Goodlow. Porter Brown. Garrison Berkeley. So my question to you is, are you sure you two are the right choices for the middle infield this year?
No, I mean, I think after 3 years, they were kind of stuck with us. You could see on the coaches' faces that, after the last game, they're like, oh, now we get to have different guys up the middle. We've had these guys for 3 years, and we just can't get rid of them in the lineup. But, yeah, I know. I think they're happy for other kids.
That does raise an interesting question for me. So you guys being, kind of the senior citizens on the team, was there ever actually any kind of competition? Is it one of those, like, your job's never safe,
Between me and him, or between?
Well, yeah, with you and Gray, or I guess if you just want to talk about yourself, but
yeah, I mean, at a school like TCU, your job's never safe. As soon as it can happen, you're going to get a Braden Taylor freshman All-American, that comes in and takes the starting role at third base last year. So your job's never safe. It doesn't matter how long you've been there. Does it help that you've been there for a while and you proved? It does, but.
gives you that, I guess,
it's
the
never
starting edge.
Yeah, I mean,
somebody else has to really.
You do start a little forward when you're there for 3 years and you're starting every game, but it can be like that when you mess up and another kid gets the opportunity, he doesn't mess up.
Now I want to ask. Speaking of Braden, it just made me think. For me personally, his biggest improvement this year was his arm strength.
Yeah.
It's incredible the way in his rank. I mean, I guess overall his defensive ability at third.
He was, especially in that regional.
But last year he would skip it in. He had trouble hitting first base. Where this year, man, he's ranging past the foul line, turn around, like he's Manny Machado over there.
Yeah, one of those baseball players where he'll keep working on the things he's good at, but he's gonna work on the things that he's not so good at. That's what makes him such a great player. Is his throwing was that little Achilles heel last year, where in the fall and I know in the summer because he was telling me that he really focused on improving that with his technique, and that's kind of where that arm strength came. He figured out how to use his body. I like to take a little credit from that. I kind of got
Right.
I got the ball rolling in that department.
There you go.
But
What
yeah,
little
he
body
definitely
he has.
Yeah, he definitely worked over that in the off season. It paid off. You can tell.
Our friend Toad to Omaha will jump into a Twitter question and asks, what brought you to TCU?
Yeah, so I got I had a friend, Alex Isola. He played here.
Yeah, from Oregon.
Yep. From Utah, or he from Cali.
Well, did he play? He played in Oregon.
Played in Utah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, University of Utah.
He's an Oregon guy.
So he went to University of Utah, and
Okay.
then he went to Yavapai. He was a sophomore when I was a freshman. He then went to TCU after his sophomore year.
Yavapai is a community college.
Yep. Yavapai's community college. And then he was here for a year. And while I was getting recruited out of Yavapai, he told Coach Mo he knows of a shortstop over where he was. Coach Mo later came out a couple of days after that and then got me on a visit. So, yeah, he kind of got the ball rolling. But luckily, Coach Mo, luckily he did it when he did because I was a week away from going to DBU. It was, I think he probably, let's say he talked to him on a Sunday. Mo reached out on a Tuesday. I was going to commit that Saturday. So Mo was like, okay, we're going to get you to campus. Okay, well, we got to figure out a scholarship. We got to do all this. And I remember telling Coach Mo, like, I can't come here if it's not going to be promising. Like, because my DBU is going to be pissed.
Yeah, I was going to say, this explains why DBU plays us so hard.
Yeah, I was like, DBU is going to be mad if I tell him I'm going to TCU on a visit. So I was like, is it going to be worth my while? And he was like, yes, like you should come out. End up coming out. Towards the end of the visit, I ended up committing there, and yeah, the rest is history.
Did you get a full scholarship here, or did you have to divide
Not
it
a
up?
full one, but it was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a full one though.
Is that one of those things like job salary that people don't talk about, or is that pretty open information?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have an idea. The players talk a little bit, but it's not really anything that matters because, I mean, you could be on 100% scholarship and not play a game.
Right.
You could be a walk-on and play every game.
Man,
So
how many 100% scholarship guys?
Yeah, I was going to say, that lasts maybe 1 year.
yeah.
That'll last a year,
Definitely
and then that changes.
Definitely, if you got 100% scholarship, I think you're gonna be playing.
Well, so Barzilli said that on the pod that every year it changes, right? So like it's kind of like 1 year contracts where you may not have the exact same scholarship from start to finish. Is that?
Yeah, I think that happens for a couple guys. They were really nice to me, and I got to keep it for all 3 years that I was here. But I do think for a little bit of guys, they have a good season, they'll get a little more money. I don't think they'll reduce it because of a bad season. I don't think that they're not like that.
Well, one thing he said that was really fascinating to me was that other guys on the team, when he committed, volunteered to give up portions of their scholarship to help him out.
I've heard
that.
I've heard of that. Yeah, like I mean, you'll go. I'm sure there's meetings with the coach and a player, and he'll just be like, "Hey, we got this guy. Maybe the family's a little wealthier; they can afford it a little more. Some like, take one for the team. Not take one for the team,
Right.
but be selfless, and it's gonna help the team." But I have heard of that. I don't remember the recent one, but I have heard of it.
Well, we're hoping that kind of goes away in the coming years, right? With the
Increased
scholarship
Oh,
rules.
yeah.
Increased number of
Are you up to
scholarships.
date on this?
Yeah.
I'm not up to date on it.
Well, a long story. I don't think there's a official decision yet, but that they're going to get rid of the 11.7 scholarships that are available for a baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to expand so that the thing is, it has to be congruent within a conference or whatever, so that there's some fairness.
Yeah.
Because if you just said it's free for all, then you're going to have a couple teams that obviously
Having
float to the
Texas
top.
A&M football situation.
Absolutely.
So Tommy, what is next for you? I mean, you've got obviously a little bit of time until the draft in July. What's your next month look like, and what are you doing now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing camps for TCU. with the little kids that they're getting out there. I'm gonna go home around the 1st of July.
Where's home right now?
Gilbert, Arizona. Yep,
Yeah.
still in Arizona, same place. And yeah, I'm just gonna chill there, be around family, catch up with guys I haven't seen in a while. Because I haven't been home since after fall, really. So
There's not really like a combine for the NMLB, so you don't have to prepare for that necessarily.
yeah, no combine. I mean, being in school for 5 years, playing baseball for 5 years, I think they've seen everything. I don't know what more I can show them at a combine than what I've done.
So you do have next level thoughts, dreams, hopes.
Yeah, absolutely. We're fingers crossed at this point.
Do you have an agent or anything like that
Yeah,
you've been in
my
contact with?
advisor, Scott Leventhal, he's doing, God's work with me. He texted me after the season, said, I really couldn't have asked for you to put yourself in such a better spot for him to go do his job.
Yeah.
It's quite a resume builder
I
this year.
Yeah, I didn't want to handcuff him and being like, here's an okay year, see what you can do. Now he has free reign to do what I know he can do. That's why I got in the deal with him in the first place,
Yeah. How cool was it at the beginning of the year? TCU doesn't make it out to Arizona very often, but to go out there for the MLB4 tournament.
Yeah.
I know Gilbert's kind of by Scottsdale, so to have all your family out there.
Yeah. So when I first committed here in 2019, they were in that tournament.
Okay.
And since I was still in Arizona for JUCO, I came down for it. And I was like, man, how cool would this be if I could play here? But obviously at the time, thinking I was going to be out in 2021, we weren't going to make it to 2022.
Right.
So when I found out this year we're going to open up, it was awesome because literally half my family was there.
Yeah.
And, my grandparents could go because they don't like to travel to Texas that much. So they got to come out, which was my last year. So they got to see me play in Arizona at TCU. So it was a really special time to open up your last year for senior year.
You had 7 hits out there too, so
I did, yeah.
They weren't bored.
I have played in that stadium before, so I was going into the ring with weighted gloves, if you could say.
Well, that's pretty cool. What MK got?
I got tons, but we can
Go
go.
ahead.
So, Tommy, I want to bounce back to about a year ago, talking about your mindset when you learned kind of first when Coach Schloss decided to take a different job, and then I guess fast forward a couple weeks when you learned that Coach Sarlos was going to take over. Kind of what was going through your mind and the team at that time.
Yeah, so I remember, Slosh telling us he was leaving, and then the whole team, even the guys that were leaving, like Humphreys and all them, we all got on a Zoom call with Donati, and he kind of opened the floor and was like, give us thoughts on who you think should be it. Do you want to go out and find somebody? Do you think we should stay local? Just bounce ideas. And I swear, everybody on the team was like, you have your guy, and it's Los. It's the easiest decision. You can end it today, right now.
Yeah.
And I think knowing that every guy last year, this year, but especially last year, every guy put in a good word, and we all individually texted him. We went to go see him in his office saying, Los is the guy we want to play for. So I think for him, knowing that all the players are going to be playing for the guy that they want was huge in that whole process.
Yeah, it was really interesting for us as fans, seeing that whole process play out. There was such a groundswell of support from current players, former players, just everyone reaching out through social media saying, Kurt's our guy. We want Kurt.
Exactly. I remember seeing on Twitter, guys from 10 years ago, or not 10 years ago, but 8 years ago, 6 years ago, saying Los is the guy, and then when you saw he got the job, more people came out saying how happy they were for him. So it just speaks volumes to who Los is.
So that's interesting, and that leads me to one of the questions I wanted to ask. And so you a couple days ago, you posted a kind of a farewell on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I have Coach Kirk's response here, and I would like you to read this and maybe give a response. Yeah. This might be tense.
Thank you for leaving the program. Yeah. Like I said, they're very happy to get me out of that role and let someone else play because I've been there for 3 years. They're very excited. Yeah.
Didn't he delete that and then because it's not this full quote. Like he was like,
it's just a screenshot.
No,
They've done some editing.
It says this tweet has been deleted underneath it.
Yeah, I remember you handed me the phone. And I was like, "Where's the rest of it?" I was like, I remember reading that part, but I was like, I think there's a lot more to that.
So it really said, "Thank you for leaving the program better than you found it."
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole. Ever since I got here, that's kind of the whole goal of TCU is how do you leave the program? Do you leave it when people talk about you in a negative response, or do you leave it in a positive way?
Yep.
And it's all about just like, can you leave your mark on the program to leave it better than how you found it? So that's really everybody is going to say that's all they're trying to do at TCU.
Yeah, that kind of goes into, and every guest we've had, we've kind of talked about the culture at TCU, and we always say, we point to different things and say, wow, it really amazes us how well TCU has developed such a strong culture and maintained it, because you say that, and I think, is there one guy that's ever left that I've ever said, thank God that guy's gone.
Yeah.
He left that program worse.
Exactly.
I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, not I can.
Our point of view.
I really can't.
No, not at all. It makes me think of, there was a quote from ECU's head coach that I think kind of applies to it. He said after losing to Texas the other night, his job's not to get to Omaha. His job's to develop these men into grown men and prepare them for life.
Exactly.
And I kind of feel like that's the same kind of culture that Kurt has here at TCU.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, baseball is going to be baseball, but baseball is eventually going to end. You can't play till you're 80 like you can with golf, or you can't play forever. So eventually you gotta find yourself outside of baseball, and that's kind of the biggest thing for us.
And that's I'm glad you said that. It makes me think of how well TCU does with kind of the more mental aspect of sport, and it makes me think of your year last year of like trying to keep you up, and not you know how bad you were at the struggling at the plate, but they've got such a good program with therapists and the way they do their breathing techniques and all that. Kind of got lost my train of thought.
I get what you're saying.
So Ray just said Tommy was terrible at the plate, and he went to therapy for it.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty close.
Yeah. I was pretty close. Yeah, the train kind of got off the tracks a little bit there.
I could see the wheels.
Thank you, long drink.
Bit, but it's all right.
Got lost in his eyes.
I did. I was.
I get what you're saying.
Do you have a response to Ray?
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Parking lot afterwards.
Yeah, we definitely do a good job of doing the baseball is something I do. It's not who I am.
Right.
Your success, your failures in baseball isn't who you are. There's so many other aspects of people other than baseball. And that's kind of what I had to deal with last year and I had to figure that out is like, I did fail. And at the time during that season, I did feel terrible because I was thinking baseball is who I was, where now it's like, it's something I just get to enjoy.
Yeah. You carried that mindset over. Can you talk a little bit about your off season last year going into this year? I know that Drew Davidson did a really good article on you detailing that. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I remember after the season ended, I actually got a text from the guys I was going to play in the Cape with, and they were like, okay, we're going to pick everybody up. I think we end on a Sunday. He's like, all right, we're going to pick everybody up on Tuesday. And I was like, I don't even have a flight. I don't even know what the head coach's name is. And I just really did not want to play baseball anymore. The last thing I want to do is go play for a month and a half more of baseball. Right. That. So I talked to Coach Mo. I was like, hey, Coach, I need to go home. I need to reset and, just kind of step away. And he was really good about it because, I played every game, so it wasn't about getting more reps. He knew that I needed to step away. He could see it in my face. He could see it in my tone. So he allowed me to go home. And, the first thing I said when I got home was like, Dad, don't ask me to hit. Like, don't ask, like, I can help out, like, with my high school, like, the younger kids. Like, I'll help out, but, like, don't ask me to do anything because, like, it's just going to, like, fire me up. Like, I really just did not want to play baseball. So I did a lot of video games, hung out with friends, family. They were all awesome because they knew I didn't want anything to do with baseball. They didn't talk about it. We just acted like nothing was normal, like everything was normal. And then just like one day, I think it was probably, however long that break is, I was probably halfway through the break. And then I texted my dad. It was like 8 o'clock. I was like, hey, Dad, like, you want to go hit? We went there. I think I hit like 3 balls off the tee. I couldn't hit a ball off the tee. I swear. Like, I hit the 3 most different balls you could hit off a tee. I think I skied one, flared one, and then snap hooked one. And I literally I was like, what is wrong? I was like, I've never been able to do this. And I think we're just sitting there for like 2 hours. The first hour we didn't talk. We literally were just sitting there, and I was like just in disgust. And then talked for another hour. And then after that, I wanted to go back. We did it again. Talked for an hour, figured out, okay, what do we got to do? We got to go back we got to start somewhere. We can't just keep trying to see if you're going to figure it out. And it really was just kind of, go back to the basics. Yeah. How can I hit a ball? Well, I gotta swing that way. How am I going to do that? How am I going to make that consistent? And that's kind of what we just spent leading up to the fall until I left, was just going back to the bare minimum. And then how can I make the bare minimum super consistent? And that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Do you ever think about, I know you're a switch hitter. You've probably always been a switch hitter. Do you ever think that to get out of this, maybe I just hit from the left side and just try that out?
That's what I did. I thought about that last year. I remember calling my dad, because whenever I don't get nearly as many at-bats right-handed as I do left-handed.
Right.
And then I was especially struggling from the right side last year. So I was like, Dad, what if I just try to just hit lefty and see if I can figure it out? And he was like, whatever you feel is a good idea, you can do. And then I talked about it with my roommates, Hunter, Connor, and Austin. And they're like, if you really feel like it's the right thing to do it. But like, they like shut it down. Yeah. They're like, that's kind of what makes you, is you're switch hitting shortstop. And that keeps you in the lineup. So I ended up scrapping the idea. It never made it to the head guys. So I ended up scrapping it and then I just kind of figured it out later.
Well, these splits are just amazing. I'm just now looking at 2021 on top of 2022. Yeah. It's like you doubled your production in every good category.
I genuinely think I doubled it. I think I passed everything. Yeah. Like halfway through the season. Except for I remember looking at it halfway through the season because I was curious. I didn't look at last year. I was just looking at this year, and then I was like, I wonder what the number comparisons are. Well, and it was like I finished like 10, 12 doubles last year, and I was already at 10 like halfway during the year. And I was like, nice. So
and then 12 last year, 23 this year.
Yeah, and then I was like, I think it was like hits, and I was already about to pass that. And it was just like I was about to pass everything. I was only halfway through the year.
Yeah, and just hearing you talk about last year, it was that's depressing.
Yeah, it really was. I'm telling you, like, I really thought I was gonna quit baseball. My dad tells me to this day, he was like, I thought you were gonna quit baseball. Like, he told me that he didn't know how I still had the balls to go up to the plate knowing I wasn't gonna succeed. Like, he's like, that was one of the things we talked about in that late night conversation. He was like, I knew you were, like, I didn't know if you were going to succeed. I know you didn't think you were going to succeed, but you still went up to the plate and you tried. And, like, that was it. Like, all I did was try.
Yep.
And he was like, he told me that speaks about you, is, like, you didn't quit on it.
That's quite the mind change. We talked to Gray. We ran into Gray on Saturday, and we were talking to him. He said the biggest thing for you was last year you were kind of had that mindset, I'm going to go up here and strike out, to where you were going up here knowing you're about to destroy the ball.
Exactly, yeah. It was kind of one of those things where, like, I would go up trying not to strike out, and this year I go up knowing I'm going to get hit, or at least hit it hard. But I would go up to the plate thinking I'm gonna get hit every time, and if I didn't, I'll just get a hit the next time.
See, I've always said that baseball is a sport where if you're playing well, there's no sport that's more fun.
Yep.
And when you're playing poorly, there's no sport more
Absolutely.
grueling.
Absolutely.
The only thing even close is golf.
Yeah.
But baseball, man, it's just the worst sport when
It-
you're not playing well.
It's like you think of like, why would I play any other sport when you're going good? And then when you're going bad, you're like, why did I pick this sport?
It's hot.
Yeah.
It's hard.
You find every
Just
negative.
throw real fast.
You find every negative thing you possibly could. Like my shoes hurt. Like, it spirals. It's bad.
Well, on that note, why don't we take it to break and we'll come back and we'll we have some more questions. And,
Yep.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
this is Post Game Beers. We'll be back with more Tommy Sacco after this break.
Post-game beers brought to you by Long Drink, the Finnish legend. We're having a drink right now with our buddy Tommy Sacco. Delicious. I've got the 8.5 alcohol, the strong boy. We've got Ray and Jacob over here with the regular. Everything's good. You guys should check it out. They're at most local vendors here in Fort Worth. Try Long Drink today.
All right. So we covered a lot in that first segment. And I know we have some more that we're going to get into, but I got to ask you before I run out of time and forget. That home run against Oklahoma State. I think did you get a couple then? But
That was my second one.
Oh, of course. You had the
Remember,
Griffey
he had
home run.
the
That's probably the one
that
you're
one.
thinking of.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking
Okay,
of.
that's not the one I'm
You're
thinking
talking
of.
about
think of
my '89 windblown
Okay.
one. That one's the least cool one.
All right, so you're no, that one was the coolest home run I've ever seen. Here's why: because you're on the left side, and I know the wind's blowing, but off the bat, 99.99% of the time, that ball just tails off foul.
Yep.
But it feels like the wind was blowing from right to left. So I'm like, well, I don't think the wind. Okay, so this ball, it starts down the line.
I know exactly what
stays
you're.
straight as
I know
a
exactly
freaking
what you're
arrow.
talking about
And
because
I've never seen anything like that before.
I know
Have you?
exactly what you're talking about because I remember I hit it, and I was like, it started going this way, and I was like, it's foul.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see in the video, I hit it and paused because I like foul ball, and then I saw it going straight.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta run.
I'm sitting there like, damn, that's going foul. I'm like, wait, this bitch is staying
Yeah.
true.
And I was like, I gotta run. And then it went out. And then as I was rounding third, Coach Mo's laughing because he goes, I guess we'll take it. I was like, I didn't put a bad swing on it. I just missed it.
But I just never seen a ball from the left side have that trajectory and just stay straight like that.
Yeah, I thought the same thing in my head when I hit it.
Yeah, but I know the Griffey home run is the one that everyone talks about.
Oh,
and I had to
man.
ask about that because that was just insane to me. Yeah. Now, there was another. Now, as I was talking about that, something else popped in my head. I think it was on Sunday. A guy on Oklahoma State hit a similar ball, but it died at the warning track.
And it hit the foul pole.
Oh, no, this is not the same.
Oh,
So-
yes, on Sunday because the wind was blowing in.
Right.
Yeah.
So he round second, and you were kind of laughing.
Because
We caught that. We were like, Tommy's telling him wrong day, bud.
literally because I remember he hit it, and in my head I was like, that's the same ball last time. And I looked at the flag, and the flag's went straight in, and I looked back, and I think Sam was out there.
Yep.
He caught it like 20 feet in front of the fence, and I was like, should hit it? I should hit it.
That reminds me of.
I don't know if he shared in your humor.
No, I think he laughed on the inside.
That reminds me of the Luke Boyers home run on Saturday, the one that went 450. That
Yep.
we looked. Oh, that's just maybe to the warning track
Right.
fly ball.
I
It
was
doesn't
watching
look
the
like
center fielder on
anything.
that one. I was
And
like,
that
please don't
thing
catch that ball.
just carried.
Man.
I've never seen a field carry so much like that field. Like batting practice. I mean, we saw it like Thursday when we got there at batting
Yeah.
practice.
Saw
the
it
wind was
Friday
going
a little
straight
bit,
out.
too.
Yeah.
And Friday. We definitely saw it Friday.
Well, they got a couple of those cheapies on Friday too.
There was a couple where I think if the wind was straight up, it may go out.
Yeah.
But there were a couple Friday, but yeah, that field carries an incredible amount.
How'd that feel after that series? Because we were driving home, and all we did was sit our ass in the stands and drink, and we were like,
I mean,
You sweep Tech, you go up there,
Yeah.
and you win in Stillwater, and you're like, you're at the top of the world. At that
Yes.
point.
absolutely. I mean, especially after the Friday night game, going what was it,
Right.
12-2. I think it scores 12-1, 12-2.
Oh, yeah, it was a
something
beat
yeah,
like
and
down.
against,
And
was it Thompson on the mound?
Justin
Campbell.
Campbell.
Campbell,
Campbell.
right. Thompson's the hitter, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Campbell, we were like, hopefully y'all don't share the same attitude, but I was like, 4-0.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell he was in a different zone. I remember clear as day. I'm sitting in the dugout. He threw a fastball for a strike and was mad because he missed his spot.
Yeah.
And you just kind of knew he was in that groove that day.
Yeah.
Where you're like, we got to maybe try to get his pitch count up, get him out of the game, and see if we can do what we do with their bullpens.
Right.
That was kind of the deal we were trying to do.
That always kind of feels like TCU's offensive strategy is work counts, work deep in the counts, try to get that pitch count up, especially on a Friday night guy where you can start working that bullpen where it's hopefully a little softer going into Saturday and Sunday.
It's definitely good on Fridays to get the starter out as fast as you can. You know, it's always nice to work a count, but if you can shell his fastball, that's also going to get him out of the game pretty fast too. So, you know, you get both, but especially on Fridays when you can get the starter out in the fourth inning, and you can dive in their bullpen on the first game of a 3-game series, that kind of, you know, ruins their whole game plan.
Yeah, I thought that really helped against Baylor.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that Saturday game was such a grind, and we just relied on our bullpen being better than theirs.
Yep,
and
exactly.
just outlasted them.
Exactly.
But then, to your point, just going in there and shelling the starter,
Exactly.
that's what happened against OU.
Mm-hmm.
It just
The first
sucked we
2
couldn't
days.
take advantage of
Yeah.
it. But turns out they're going to win a natty.
They're pretty
They're
hot.
They're hot right now.
Yeah, who do you
And,
like in the tournament right now? Did you watch any last week? Or
You know, I watched a lot Saturday. I like OU. I mean, they got really hot at the right part, and that's usually
I think that's when they beat us, and then
they got
started-
hot off
as
us.
soon as they beat
and then-
TCU, they got hot from then on.
and then they
you know?
won the series against Tech. You know, won the
Mhm.
tournament. So I mean, they're playing their best baseball at the perfect time. And usually, I mean, we saw it last year with Mississippi State. They got hot at the
Yep.
right time.
Yep.
And that's usually who goes on and wins it.
And it always helps when the unanimous number one goes out in supers.
Yeah, that also helps. That was a crazy game.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't
There-
think Notre Dame
you could
had it
deep-
in them.
You could deep dive into all that stuff with all the controversies, but
Oh, you're talking about their
like Tennessee
their
and
swag.
their swag, you know,
Yeah.
there's a whole.
Couldn't imagine a
unpack.
TCU squad like that.
Imagine turning
Could
around
you just imagine?
I couldn't imagine doing some of the things and then having to face Mo.
like turning around, mouthing or yelling to an ump. That's a terrible fucking call. Then he throws you out, and then you look at him. What did I do?
Hey, you think Vitello and Mosiello are different coaches?
A little bit.
So that's an interesting segue into kind of the culture change from last year to this year. And it's interesting because we saw some things, or at least I did. I saw some things from A&M's team that I don't remember a TCU team ever doing for the last, 15 years. So not to bash on anybody, Schloss or anybody in the past, but the culture change from this year, talk about maybe some of the biggest differences that you noticed as like a teammate.
Yeah, I mean, as far as culture, I don't know if I noticed a whole lot of difference. Los is a completely different manager that Slosh was, in their own right. They're both like amazing coaches in their own right. But yeah, I didn't really feel like there was a culture change, because we only really lost Slosh. We kept both our coaches, our assistant coach Delora, all of our support staff. So it was kind of like, it's back to business. It didn't feel like we really lost a beat.
Did it feel a little looser this year?
Maybe a little.
To grow beards.
We didn't have to shave.
Was that a rule?
We didn't even know that was
It
a
was,
thing.
yeah. So it's a rule. It was a rule in the fall. It's a discipline rule.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do things in life that you don't want to do. So that was kind of where Slosh was with that, which, I understand. It's harder for guys like Gray that lives with
Shave
his
twice
beard.
a day.
Yeah, he's got to shave twice a day.
5 o'clock shadow at 9 a.m.
Yeah, so Gray was probably the biggest guide to like, let's get rid of that rule, because Gray hates not having a beard.
He walks out to the field with an electric razor.
Because if
Between
you
innings.
if you showed up with any facial hair, you were gonna get tossed out of practice. So like, we keep razors in the bathroom. If someone showed up to the field, like Halen be like, go shave. Like, you gotta go shave.
Put that guy in charge.
So
Guy shaves once a season.
but yeah, that was a nice rule where we didn't have to shave. But yeah, that's like, it was really just, all right, back to business. We got our captain at the helm. So
Hearing those shave rules, I'm getting Marine Corps flashbacks. How we were.
I want to learn a little bit more about Coach Mo. So I don't know what game planning meetings look like. I don't know if those are a thing. Where you guys are talking about here's what we're going to do, but I just envision Coach Mo. He's up there pontificating about base running for 90 minutes. Just like
he does like to get on a roll. He does like to get everything out.
Like Ray.
Yeah.
He likes to get everything out. But he definitely came in on day one and was like, I'm gonna demand perfection. For those of you that it's your first day on campus, you're not gonna be perfect. You're gonna mess something up because there's new signs, there's new ways to run an offense, there's new styles of how to bunt or whatever. You're gonna mess it up, and I'm gonna yell at you, but I'm gonna yell at you so the next time you remember me yelling at you, and you're not gonna mess it up.
It makes me think of a moment last year. We were kind of mad in the stands in Lubbock, and I forget what error you made, like on the base pass.
Base running, yeah.
That he
Ray,
ran.
You got courage. I wasn't gonna go here.
He
Yeah, I
ran out
remember
there
that.
and greeted you, and then gently removed you from the game.
Yep, I remember that. It was
I
so
wasn't gonna go here.
it's
Ray's got balls.
no, it's all right. So it was second and first, 2 outs, and when we're trying to steal third, if you cross your leg over, usually you should go because the guy at first, once he sees you cross over, he knows you're stealing.
Yeah.
So I crossed over. I probably still would have gone and been safe, but I don't remember what I was thinking.
See, we thought it
Elijah
was like a missed hit and run or something.
No,
Yeah.
no, it was. I was trying to steal third. It was a close game. I was trying to get the third with 2 outs. The right. I don't remember who was hitting.
I think it was Eli.
No, Eli was on first.
Oh,
I
Eli
think it
was
was.
on first.
I think it was Zach.
Okay.
I think it was Zach. Yeah, and I crossed over. Eli took off. Ended up getting back pick at second. He wasn't very happy about it. Yeah, that was that.
Did they say anything to you after the game, like, "Hey, shake it off"? Like,
Coach Mo, whenever he'll get mad, but he'll come find you and say, "Hey, I did get mad. I may have overreacted. He's a good person when it comes to like, if he does overreact, it's all valid in the time,
right?
but he'll be like, I overreacted, and he'll come apologize to you. So he does have that balance.
That's good.
So let's jump through some quick fire, and then we'll get out of here. Best food on campus, maybe the training table. Best snack, like what do you got?
Best food on campus or in Fort Worth? Just on campus.
On campus.
Well, what about I'm more interested in, like, okay, let's go but I want to know, what do they supply you guys?
That's what I mean. Like, what do
Yeah,
you got? What do you
so-
guys go to? Like, hey,
Because we see this stuff on like the Barstool athletes or whatever.
Oh,
They'll kind of
like-
do like a POV video of
Yeah.
their day, and they'll show all the food they get.
Yeah, so in the kitchen, our nutrition staff does a fantastic job of making sure our kitchen's fully stocked throughout the week. Usually they do it either once a week or bi-weekly. And they'll put protein waters in there. This year is the first time they've fully supplied chocolate milks, which is awesome.
That's so great.
Uncrustables. They got the little 3-pack with the cheese, nuts, and protein.
Yeah.
They supply it with those.
Sounds like an elementary school.
Just like quick
It's like
snacks.
Little
It's
League.
I wish we do Gatorades, but the pitchers would clear it out in a heartbeat. They always do. And then in the
Pictures, man.
in the freezer they have Italian ice for us, and cherry juices. So, and then they got the protein popcorn, just a bunch of snacks
Yeah.
for like, nothing really substantial, but like to give you some energy. And
Compare and contrast that with your junior college experience.
Yeah, so my snack bar was a
You don't have to.
My snack bar was a plastic drawer I bought at the dollar store, and it was ramen. Ramen I could just heat up in my little tiny shoebox microwave.
There's Coach Mo recruiting him, like, man, if we can just get this boy fed,
Yeah.
imagine what he'll do. His senior year.
JUCO, it's so funny thing about JUCO and TCU and how different they are. Like, I always tell people, after games on Saturdays, we play double headers, and I couldn't go eat after eating because I had to do my laundry. because my pants would be covered in dirt, and my JUCO coach would like make us run if our pants were dirty for our games, like if they were stained. So we had to scrub the dirt out of it before you go eat, and by the time you go eat, it's midnight, and like my family needs to drive back. It's terrible.
There's no JUCO managers.
No
JUCO
JUCO manager.
grind for nothing.
No JUCO. But I love JUCO.
Shout out to the TCU managers. This actually brings us back to another question: most underappreciated person or group on the TCU baseball staff. This could be a coach or maybe somebody that we don't see that often.
It really is the managers, and Meredith and Coop. Meredith and Coop plan out everything to the minute, on game days, travel days, everything like that. And then the managers are the ones staying, till midnight, 1 a.m. when they got their school to deal with. And then they got to make sure everything's set up for practice, before practice, make sure everything goes smooth during practice. And then after practice, they got to put everything back and then do our laundry. So it's really just that core group right there really just keeps TCU afloat.
Yeah, those Tuesday night games got to be tough on them.
Brutal. I mean, I remember last year they were in the opening weekend at Globe Life. They had to do the entire tournament's laundry, essentially. like half the tournament's laundry, and they were there till 3, and then they have to wake up at 9 and do it all again the next day. It was incredible.
You remember that 2017 regional when there was rain delays?
Oh yeah,
games were ending at 2 in the morning.
Brutal.
Thank you, TCU managers.
Yeah, no kidding.
Absolutely.
Frogs Are Rolling asks, what's your favorite team to play against?
I would say A&M in that regional was a lot of fun. If I had to think about a perfect last game to lose, I guess, would be playing against a team in that environment.
And hitting that home run.
And hitting the home run.
Yeah.
I wanted that to be your moment. So
I really did too.
So bad.
Playing against UT is always a good time. I would say UT at UT was a lot of fun this year. Just those little rivalry games where you're playing an SEC team and you want to represent the Big 12.
Like State Farm last year.
Yeah, stuff like that where you're you want to there's going to be a lot of fans and you want to play well.
Right. Which team's fan base had the best chirps on the road?
Honestly,
we didn't really hear any.
That A&M crowd was
oh my goodness.
It was 9 straight innings of them chanting the pitcher's name.
Austin.
Yeah.
Austin.
And it was any way you could possibly think about chanting it. And then the ball calls, TV doesn't do them justice.
I took a couple of videos. I was there in the stands.
I remember standing at shortstop and looking around, and every single person that was in purple was doing ball 5, ball, and it was just kept going, and it was echoing.
Yeah.
If I was the pitcher on the mound, I would have just walked away. I couldn't do it.
Or Mitchell Traver.
It's easy being at shortstop when that happens because you don't have to throw a strike.
Right.
Or Tommy, we need you to throw knuckleballs. Come on in.
Oh my gosh. That was the one time where I've stopped and looked around at another fan base, and I was like, wow, how much of a home field advantage is that?
It was definitely the rowdiest crowd I've ever been.
They didn't even cheer for their players as they were hitting. They only cheer when they scored.
Yeah, they just do those little stupid bubbles.
They want to see you fail more than they want to see their team succeed.
It was crazy. Hey, UT had a good one. They would chirp at the dugout as we're hitting. You could hear it from the dugout. Shout out to Owen. This one kid picked on Owen, and Owen was still solid in the dugout, so he did a fantastic
I feel
job.
like Owen was this year. Him and Luke Savage were the most lively ones in the dugout.
I mean, their Owen especially was a fantastic dugout teammate.
Yeah.
I mean,
Owen might have been the one that yelled at me in Austin. I was walking down from where we were sitting up top, down behind the dugout, because I just wanted to check it out down there. Well, as I'm walking down, you guys are on defense.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize y'all were in the dang shift.
yeah.
So Gray makes this awesome play with 2 outs from the shortstop position.
Yeah.
So I'm cheering for you, and somebody turns around and just freaking lashes at me.
Really?
That's great. I'm like, oh,
I don't know.
bad.
But yeah, he was extremely well in his role of just kind of being that dugout energy.
Yeah.
And he took that and ran with it, which was awesome.
It's his football dad.
Especially as a freshman,
Yeah.
All right, we'll finish with this. So I'm stealing a question from you, Jacob.
Man, I got another one.
You got more?
Yeah.
No, I got one more.
We got to wrap this up.
I've got
guys.
one more
I know.
too.
We got to wrap this up. So you went on the road with, you mentioned Hunter, Connor, and Austin were road roommates.
Yep.
Eli was your road roommate
was a
this
road
year.
roommate. No,
So-
Eli's last year. River was this year.
Okay, so talk about maybe the biggest pet peeve, your worst road roommate.
Oh gosh.
This is a standard question.
It is.
Thanks to Barzilli, we have to ask.
I don't
everybody.
know. Connor was my road roommate COVID year. I don't.
Maybe not worst,
I really-
but the one thing that like
I gotta
bothered
Somebody-
you.
think about
It
this.
was Barzilli. Barzilli was like Halen Green drove him crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta think about this. I don't. You know, I'm pretty go with the flow guy. Like, we don't. You know, I gelled well with Connor. Even though it was for like what, 8 games that we got to do it. Me and Eli gelled well. I didn't really do much. I just like laid in bed last year. Me and River were solid.
Did you ever walk in on Eli doing a TikTok?
Taking a mirror selfie.
No, I did. That did pass through my mind when I saw it was gonna be us. I was like, I wonder if he's gonna do TikTok. But no, he stopped that. I guess
Good.
stopped it before it took off. Who knows? But yeah.
Well, that was my last question.
Okay, well, I've got
Sorry, I stole it.
No, you're good.
So-
I just wanted it asked.
You're our original. You're the original Lupton Drinking Club franchise obliterator. When did y'all first come aware of that last year? What were y'all thinking?
So I think I saw it. I mean, I didn't have Twitter last year, so
Yep.
it got sent to me. I think I saw it OSU at home.
Okay,
I don't know
big
if that
big
was
series,
I
big
don't know,
sweep.
that was when I hit my first home run of the year, my first and only home run last year. So I think that's when it got sent to me. But yeah, we are aware of all the memes. I have all the memes.
I hope
saved.
you enjoyed that because it took me about 6 hours.
Every
we
time,
perfected the process.
every time you guys come out with a meme, I save it to my phone.
Awesome.
I love
What,
it.
hey, you like that Beardy Boys
The
one?
Beardy Boy one is fantastic.
Wait, I gotta ask. Do you know the reference though?
I know
Yeah.
the Beastie Boys.
No,
Okay.
Right.
That's the only thing that registers in
See,
my
that was the thing. It was like, is this so dated? Nobody's gonna even get.
That's the only thing that registers in my
Worse,
mind.
so
Party Boys, dog.
Hardy Boys.
Jacob and I are sitting there in the stands this year, and he's like, "Dude," like he just looked over at me. You're like, "I got it." The Hardy Boys. Look up a book cover and make a meme out of it.
Hardy Boys.
And so I'm sitting there in the stands. We're in the second row. You guys are coming up to bat, and I'm like, "All right, let me figure this out on Pixar." You know?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Now we were asking people, like we would ask like students that were sitting near us, like, do you understand the reference? They were
Yeah,
like,
the Hardy
we'd
Boy.
ask a dad.
It's
They're
just
like,
a-
"Ha, ha."
It's
My
just
dad
an
probably understands the reference.
It's an
He'll
old time
probably-
book series
Hardy Boys,
reference.
man.
He'll probably
Those as a
kick me
kid.
when he hears that I didn't get it.
Oh, man.
So, but I still loved it. It still didn't change it.
All right, final thoughts before we sign out, guys.
I was gonna say, man, now that you and Gray have passed on to the next plane, leaving TCU, I kind of feel like I'll lump y'all in with the super seniors from last year, that kind of group. So it kind of feels like next year will be like this whole new era of TCU baseball.
Yeah, I'm excited for next year. I think it was nice that it was a young team this year because they're gonna go into next year with a lot of experience. David's gonna have a year under his belt.
Yep.
You got BT in his third year, Eli in his third year, Luke in his third year. And then you got Cam that
My goodness.
that ended on such a high note, and he can take that into this next year, where he can have his second full year starting.
Yep.
And you can go down the list of all the guys that got their full years in, and now they're going to be ready for nothing's going to be new for them.
Right. They'll be battle tested, man. Can we start a NIL fund to get Marcelo back next year?
You guys might have to. I don't know. I haven't talked to him about it recently, but you might have to reach out to these guys and try to get a.
Right.
Send donations to Papa Perez Barbecue.
Yeah,
absolutely.
we became
Pass them
good
on some
friends.
long drinks.
Yeah, we became good friends with Marcelo's dad and his family throughout the year.
People.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely great people.
So what questions do you have for us?
yeah.
I'm just kidding. That's
I
a
haven't-
big question.
This has been awesome. This has been amazing. I've always,
Yeah,
like
man.
I said in the beginning, I've wanted to do this since you guys started.
Yeah.
it, so.
Yeah, we were just waiting on the season to end, honestly. So
Yeah.
we're,
Yeah, we didn't know if we could get you on during the season or
I do remember and after Arizona, y'all's first one that came out, you guys were like, Tommy had a great weekend. I don't want to jinx it. I do remember that.
I don't think we did.
I do remember that. You're like, you guys were like, we're not going to talk about that. It was funny. So I remember in my mind, I was like,
about Tommy.
yeah, I remember in my mind, I was like, I want them to talk about me. So I might have to keep doing
we
it.
eventually did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, thank you for spending time with us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you
This
for
was
having
fun.
me. I
Wish
really
you the
do.
best of luck, obviously in July, and can't wait to see what the next step is for you.
I'll be around in the fall and next year.
Yeah, will you stay in Fort Worth? Do you think you'll call Fort Worth home or the
Got baseball to
Metroplex?
play, dog.
I know it depends on how July goes.
Yeah, I'm keeping the house for this next year in Fort Worth. Wherever I get to do. But yeah, I do love Fort Worth. It has been a second home.
Cool. Can't wait for you to come out next year and crush some long drinks with
Oh,
us
man,
in the
I'm gonna have to come
stands.
down in the front row. And
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
me and Gray, we talked about it. We were like, Gray's like, I might have to join Lupton Drinking Club.
Man, I've got a funny story real quick about this guy on Saturday when we saw Gray and Peyton.
Yeah.
And Jacob he's great with facial recognition, but not name recognition.
No, I'm good with names. I'm terrible with faces.
Okay.
Dude.
Opposite.
It's
So
opposite.
Gray and Peyton were there with some friends, and they were like, "Oh, hey, we know them. We know that." And so they flagged us down to come over.
Don't know these people. Who
I thought Jacob was joking,
No.
and I was
I'm
like,
Ray, help me out. Who? Like, they're pretty confident they know me.
and I was like, "Well, he doesn't have a goatee anymore, so maybe we don't know." I'm kind of playing along with it, and he was like, "No, I don't know." And I was like,
Well, I finally recognized.
"That's
Peyton.
Gray,
I was like, okay,
Gray
that's gotta be
Rogers."
Gray then.
I get a lot of like, it's hard to recognize out of a uniform
Yeah.
because everybody looks so different.
It's so hard
you
for
know?
me, man.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that a lot.
I don't know. I feel like it's easy for me.
Yeah, well, you could have helped me out some. All right, Tommy, thank you so much.
Yeah.
man.
I
Yeah.
This was
appreciate it.
great.
Thank you.
Thanks
very
for coming
much.
up. We'll,
I appreciate it.
Thanks
you.
to Flying T Studios, Roxon Media House. Thanks to Jacob Ray, our friend Jamie Plunkett, who's here. He's babysitting us, and let's be honest, we need that sometimes. So thanks to everyone. Appreciate you listening. Go Frogs.
Go Frogs.